All right. So let us start with guided karuna before we start the Dhamma talk. I'll start a Q&A. Now let us sit here, sit wherever you are. Relax the body, relax the mind. Keep the mind open, calm and peaceful. Keep the mind present. Let the body free from all the tension, pressure from top of the head. Relax. Relax the forehead, the face, the neck. Relax the shoulders, arms and fingers. Relax the chest, the abdominal area, stomach. Relax the spine, the back, buttocks, to the thighs, to the knees, to the calves, ankles and soles and toes. So relax the whole body. Keep the mind peaceful and calm and mindful. Let us start off with imagination. Imagine that we are in a clinic, a doctor's clinic. Then we scan around, there are patients waiting to see the doctor. All of them come in with all kinds of sickness or illnesses. And here we are. We wish them to be free from all their suffering. Whatever suffering they're going through, mentally or physically, may they be free from all their suffering. Now let us bring that mind, bring the compassionate mind into ourself. So do we wish. Whatever mental suffering that I'm going through, may I be free from all this suffering. And whatever physical suffering that I'm going through, may I be fully be free from all this suffering. Whatever suffering that I go through from day to day, from life to life, in the circle of this samsara, may I be free from all this suffering. Whatever suffering, whatever mental suffering that I'm going through, may I be free from all this suffering. Whatever physical suffering that I'm going through, may I too be free from all this suffering. And whatever suffering that I go through from life to life, from day to day, may I be free from all this suffering. And let us expand this karuna. Let us expand this karuna, reaching out to all the people and beings around us, including the brothers and sisters in Zoom right now. May they be humans or non humans, devas, guardian devas of our homes, other devas in the vicinity, or all the petas and all the animals, big or small, seen or unseen. May all of us here be free from all kinds of suffering. Whatever mental suffering that I'm going through, that we are going through, may we be free from all this suffering. Whatever physical suffering that we are going through, may we all be free from all this suffering. Whatever suffering due to birth, aging, sickness, and death, may I too be free. May we all be free from all these sufferings. May all beings around here be free from all their mental suffering. And whatever physical suffering they are going through, may they be free from all their suffering. And whatever suffering they go through from day to day, from life to life, may we all be free from all this suffering. Now let us expand the karuna, reaching out to all the beings in this whole country or in your country. May they be humans or non-humans, or to the guardian devas or other devas, to all the petas and all the animals, big or small, far or near, seen or unseen. May all beings, whatever suffering they are going through, whatever mental suffering they are going through, may they be free from all this suffering. Whatever physical suffering that they are going through, may they too be free from all their suffering. May they be free from all the suffering from day to day, from life to life, and this circle or this course of samsara. May all beings in this country be free from all their mental suffering, free from all their physical suffering that they are going through. And they could be completely be free from all their suffering. May they be free from all the suffering due to birth, aging, sickness and death, and rebirth. Now let us expand this compassion, reaching out to all beings in this whole wide world. May they be our loved ones, near or far away, relatives and friends, and to all those people whom we do not know, wherever they are, and to those whom we dislike or those who dislike us. And to all the guardian devas of the sasana, all other devas residing in this world, to all the petas, and to all the animals, big or small, seen or unseen, far or near. May all beings, whatever mental suffering they are going through, they be free from all this suffering. Whatever physical suffering that they are going through, may they too be free from all this suffering. May all beings in this world able to live with kindness and compassion and not in cruelty and violence. May all beings in this world, may they be free from their suffering due to from day to day, and from life to life. May all beings be free, free from all their fear, their anger, hatred, restlessness, and whatever physical suffering, aches and pain, various kinds of illness. May they be free from all this suffering. May all beings in this world, may all beings in this world, may they be free from all their suffering due to this samsara. Now let us expand. Let us expand this compassion, this karuna, to all beings without exception, without border, without condition. All beings in this universe or universes, all beings from the highest planes of existence down to the lowest planes of existence, all beings from all the world systems, may all beings may all beings, whatever mental suffering that they are going through, may they be free from all their suffering. May they be free from all their suffering, all their physical suffering that they are going through. May their suffering due to life to life, day to day, from birth and rebirth, may they be free from all this suffering. May all beings, whatever mental or physical suffering they are going through, may they be completely be free from all their suffering. May all their suffering due to birth, aging, sickness, and death, and rebirth, may they too be free from all their suffering. May all beings completely be free from all their suffering. May all beings completely be free from all their suffering. Now we let go of the karuna, bring the mind back to the center, to the body, to the here and now, the rising, falling, the in breath, out breath, to the touch. Then we can slowly open our eyes. All right. Let us start with the Q&A for tonight. Okay. Oh, yes. I think this will be for now, will be the last talk. Because next week or following week, I want to go for my retreat, short retreat. Short means a few months, short. Your short is few days or a week. A week you're considered long already. But anyway, I'll see how it goes. Maybe after I come back again, then we can continue or whatever. So let me see, what do we have for tonight? We don't have many questions for tonight. We only have 2 questions for tonight, And if you have any other questions, you can put it in the chat. Yeah. Then later, if I got time, then I'll try to try to answer them. Okay. Now let's just go to the Q and A. Go to questions. Huh? All right. Let's see. Okay. During vipassana meditation, we always be mindful of what's happening inside us, mind and body. But when we are not meditating, we are also try to be mindful, but we get a lot of irritation and suffering watching the body and mind as we watch and wait. Should we be watching only external? A bit confused sometimes. Uh, Now, while we are meditating, of course, what do you say that we pay attention, be aware, and we learn to accept to what is going on clearly or prominently in our objects, like for example, the rising, falling, or the in breath, out breath, or the sensations or the pain that's going on. We learn to observe them as clear as possible, and we learn to be keep on continuously observe them so that we can able to understand and able to gain the mindfulness, concentration, wisdom to be a bit more better, stronger. As we keep on doing it, the mind becomes clearer, sharper, and more penetrative. Uh, Now, while we are going through all this meditation, of course, we go through all the irritation and difficulty and tension and pressure and so on. Then we go through all this suffering. Yeah? And while we go through all this suffering, please make sure that you don't start to do your karuna there. May I be free from all this suffering. Wrong, wrong. That is for karuna only. When you are going through all the suffering and so on, all the difficulty while you are in vipassana, you got to watch them, see them as they really are. You got to see them, their strength, it becomes stronger and so on. It become very powerful, it become very unbearable, very irritating, very suffering inside there. So when you go through all those things, then that is how we do vipassana. But translating back to the everyday life, sometimes for us there may be a hiccup or some difficulty of putting the whole practice in the everyday life. Now, in the everyday life, of course, we are not expecting you to do like what we are doing in the retreat center. But in the retreat time, we are constantly and as much as possible, we try to be alert and mindful and present. Yes, that's what we are supposed to do. But in the everyday life, especially for like lay people, you have a lot of things to do. And a lot of times you are not mindful. But supposing that there are certain times that we are mindful and we make an effort to be mindful, make an effort to come back to the present, come back to the center, come back to here and now. And while we are here and now, the manifestation of this suffering part of it also becomes quite strong. And when it become quite strong, you also need to learn to accept them as they are. Now, a lot of times when we note this pain or when we have attention on this pain, the back of the mind, we tend to try to push it away. We try to reject it. We try to reject it, and then, of course, when we try to reject it, that means there's a certain degree of aversion or dislike at the back of the mind, which we are not mindful of. So we kind of like get engrossed and get engaged into the irritation, into the pain, into whatsoever that is bothering. Then when we look into that thing, our mind becomes unsettled. Yeah. So what should we do then? Again, the same principle apply. The same principle apply like what we do in the retreat is that when you come into the everyday life on all this suffering and all this sickness and all the illnesses and all the pain and aches and whatnot now, sometimes when we cross 50, that's all our suffering start coming in, one after another, as if like we are just rolling on with all that this one. Now I'm seeing it already. And by Malaya, slowly come. Sometimes sometimes I told the devotees while they are while their lunchtime, I told them, "Hey, I'm getting old already. With incredulous look, they look at me. Huh? You are old, ah?" That's where when we get this one, all your sight eyes you cannot see, your ears also start problem, your cholesterol start go high, your BP start go high, what not now, what else is there starts coming in. When in the 20s and 30s, well, we never heard of all this. I mean, we heard of all these things, but it's still not affecting you. It's just like last time when I'm in the 30s, when I give the Dharma talk, yeah, we all got suffering through. But kaki tebo, we don't feel the suffering yet. I mean, in the sense of sickness and so on. But nowadays, different story. The suffering has more deeper experience. But anyway, that is whole thing. You see, when you come to the everyday life, we translate from what we do from our vipassana meditation. We translate into everyday. We learn to accept this pain, and we learn also to take this pain as not my pain. In that sense, this is just the nature of the body and mind. The body, the pain is inevitable. As we roll in the years, it's inevitable. We got to learn to accept them as they are. Although we try to slow them down, or we try to reduce the illness and so on. But that's what we all can do. To delay it in that sense. But other than that, other than that, the mind itself, our mind itself, we got to learn to accept them as they are. We got to learn to and take it that this is not my pain. Although we are still taking medication, supplements, and so on, that is perfectly all right. But in the back of mind is just the process of the body, the aging of the body. So here we are, when we able to have that state of mind, then when it comes to your suffering and all that thing, yes, the body still suffer, doesn't mean that there's no suffering, but the mind is free from that suffering, free from that anger, or free from that hatred, free from that dislike. And then at least for that period of time, the mind is more settled. The mind much more settled, although here and there'll be sickness in the body. And the Buddha used to put a simile of the two arrows. One arrow will struck will struck the body, and the other arrow if struck the mind, if you are not mindful. If you are mindful, if you are alert, if you are contemplative, in that sense, then there's one arrow will struck the body, but there's no arrow will struck the mind, will strike on the mind. So this is how we learn to accept a change of the mind states. And this changing of the mind states, it's a lot to do with our mental development over the years. It sounds easy, really, it sounds easy. Just do this and do that. But our attitude, our mental attitude over the years that we build up over time is so hardened. Then by the time that we're reaching all this aging and sickness, and here we are, we're going to change our mental attitude. Sometimes that will be a bit too late. The mind want to change a little bit, but after that it goes back to its old attitude. And then after that we suffer, we get angry, we get annoyed, we get all kinds of mental uh, disorder or sickness and so on. So hopefully we cultivate the mind as much as possible. When the irritation and difficulty comes into our life, we learn to accept them as they are. We learn to take it as no, the suffering in the body, we take them as they are. We learn to take them as not I, and then the mind settle. When the mind settle, the mind is more open. When the mind open, we at least we have a clearer mind how to treat the body this way or that way. Mm. This is something on the first this one. Second question. Oh, second question is like banyak susah lah for me. Aiyo. Please go through the 17 thoughts moment. What are they and their respective functions? Example, what is bhavanga, arresting bhavanga, javana, etc., so that the yogis can understand and grasp the nature of mental phenomena? I think you look for the wrong teacher right now. You got to go for those Abhidhamma scholars to go through all these type of things. For me also, sometimes I also forget all these type of things. But nevertheless, I have some idea. Some idea. But you ask me to go deeper than that. I have not much of it. No, I have not much of it. Even if I could to tell you a lot of things that what I know, also perhaps it may not be beneficial for you. It is only will be more of a curiosity, and to satisfy certain curiosity. Now, okay, before we go through these 17 thought moments, for those who are Mong Cha Cha, what is 17 thought moments? 17 thought moments it's connected with our sense doors. Connected means eye door here, hearing or smelling or tasting or touching. Or seeing, smelling, hearing, tasting, touching. So there are 5 doors. There are 5 doors, 5 sense doors. And when you have these 5 sense doors, there's these 17 thought moments. It is for this, in a way, the body part. Although it's this one, but this is for the senses. This is not for the mind, the 17 thought moments. It's not for the mind. The mind, again, has a stream of thought moments also. A stream of thought moments, I got not 17, but less than that. So this, I mean, say the 17 thought moments, usually it meant for the sense thoughts. Now, is it important for us yogis to know about these 17 thought moments? Well, if you are a beginner, then there's no necessary. If you are a beginner, then it's not necessary. Okay? You don't even know what this bhavanga and javana. If you do not know, does not matter. You can still able to start off with a meditation. All right? Now, if you, let's say, you do not know what is this bhavana, javana, and so on, can you still get enlightened if you practice? Yes, you can still get enlightened. Not to worry about that. You can still get enlightened, even you do not know all these type of things. But is it good for us to know as a yogi a number of these Abhidhamma aspects? Yes, it is good, because for some people, it helps them to have more confidence in the practice. Some may not be necessary. So if the confidence, if you build up the confidence, build up the understanding, then yes, then go ahead. And also sometimes devotees, Buddhist devotees, there are certain inclination of their mind. Some likes to have a little bit more studious, more reflecting, thinking, deep thinking about how the mind works, how the body works, then they want to go into Abhidhamma, then they have inclination in doing those things. Well, it's perfect, it's good. But there are some also devotees who do not have that much of an inclination to think about all this Abhidhamma and so on. All they want to do is do dana, keep their sila, meditate, 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 things like that. Is it okay? That is also okay. It's just that the inclination of the person is different. All right. So, here this nature of this Abhidhamma thing, they are is an optional thing. It is good for us to know. Sometimes there are a number of things that we should know, because that in the Dhamma talks, the teachers tend to use this type of words and so on. At least we know roughly a little bit here and there. But if you want to know more about it, then you have to go through all the Abhidhamma course, which is a number of lay teachers and also monks. Currently, Reverend Jyotinanda is teaching this Abhidhamma and so on. So you got to go and look for all these type of courses to understand this nature of this mind. Because in understand also a little bit of these thought moments, we got to also understand the beginning part of it, what it means by wholesome consciousness, unwholesome consciousness, what is rooted consciousness, what is not rooted consciousness, and things like that. A little bit here and there. So anyway, since you asked for these 17 thought moments and so on, so a single object, that when we note a single object, let's say when you note a hardness of the body, when you note a single hardness, 17 thought moments already passed through. And provided that hardness that you notice are very clear to you, not bong bong, not that you meditate and you do not know what you are looking at. Bhante, I do not know whether it was there or not there. If it's not there or not there, then it's not, the 17 thought moments are not really there. Less than that. After we go through. But when you say 17 thought moments here, you must first remember that this is only when your object is very clear to you, exceptionally clear to you. If you see something, let's say if your eye got cataract right now, let's say you see things are bong bong and not so clear one, then it doesn't come into 17 thought moments. Or you're half deaf, let's say you're half deaf, then when the strong sound impinge into your ear, but because you're half deaf, then it doesn't come into 17 thought moments. If you are fully capable, your eyesight, your hearing is all perfect, then when these things, when the strong object impacted to your eyes or the impact impinged into your ears, then these 17 thought moments become manifesting. It manifested. So this is how the discern 17 thought moments are meant for, only for a clear object, absolutely very clear object. Now, to go through what is these 17 thought moments, like this. Let me go through a little bit. Can you see all? Oh, you cannot see all. Let me put it slightly smaller, and because there are 17. So let me put this aside. Wait now. All right. Wait. Hold on. Put on the focus. You can see a little bit more. Yes. Okay. So before we take this, okay, let me see again. Okay, this is a sense door. Let's say we use an eye consciousness. We use an eye consciousness. All right. That means here, let's say an eye consciousness, you see an object. You see an object for just, let's say, just for 1 second. and it's clear to you, that let 1 second, let's say let 1 second, 17 consciousness has already passed through. And it's, let's say it's clear to you, the 17, all these things are already passed through. And then let's say you look at it for about 1 minute. Yeah? If you look at it 1 minute, that means these things has gone through this stream of consciousness has passed through 60 times already. Let's say yeah. Let's say. But the thing is that right now what we are looking at right now, can you notice that your mind, all this consciousness passing through? Tak boleh ma, cannot. Exactly, because cannot. But just to give you an example, but in reality, it's much faster than this. I mean, we are talking about 1 second. It's not just 117, it's many 17s gone through. We do not know how many. They said millions, but I really do not know. I really do not know. So the thing is that here, according to this Abhidhamma, is that when you note something, for example, if you happen to in the meditation and you note a single object of touch or hardness, is already passing through all these 17, and you note again hardness, then 17 keep on running, something like that. So these are not, you must look at things they are very dynamic. They are not just 70, but they are just keep on going and going and going and going. And then with this thing, it presented over to the mind consciousness again, a mind door consciousness, a mind door, and then mind door consciousness got another set of a stream of consciousness again. Okay, so it's a bit complicated, bit complicated. Now, okay. Now let's see what are these things, because some of these things are also quite helpful. Maybe which we're going to touch on some of the things that I've mentioned on Wednesday, especially on the karma thing, as when it comes to the jhana. Okay. Now, streams of bhavanga. Now, streams of bhavanga here, you must like imagine like this 17, all these 17 is like a beads, there are beads, you wear your necklace, let's say, you wear a necklace, beads, and then it's stringed by the a string, the string that go through the beads. Let's say these streams of bhavanga is considered like the string that is connecting two bits together. All right, it connects the two bits together, and they can be very short, and they can short in the sense of duration, very short, or they can be quite long. But while you are looking at something, let's say, that stream is a very short one. So you come out from the stream, they call a past bhavanga, vibrating bhavanga, arresting bhavanga. Again, this arresting bhavanga is a mental stream. Then it is settled off. Then it starts with the 5-door adverting consciousness. Now, this 5-door adverting consciousness, that means the mind starts to advert to the object. And start to advert to the object. And then the next one is the I consciousness. Now, the I consciousness is the consciousness that you are looking. What you are seeing right now is this I consciousness. And there are going to be many, many, many I consciousness that is going to go through. After that, you come to this receiving consciousness, investigation consciousness, determining consciousness. All this, I think, if I'm not mistaken, all these are all your resultant consciousness. What have you done in your past? Resultant consciousness, something like that. I think one of it is functional consciousness. Anyway, now the next one, this one, Usually we only look at number 5. Okay, this is usually when you take eye consciousness, we look at number 5 only. The rest of it we don't bother about it too much until when it comes with the karma thing. So number 5, this is what the most important when we look at all this sense door process. Then this one is all receiving, investigation, determining, is all this resultant consciousness. Okay. Now, when it comes to number 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, this 7 consciousness, 7 jhana consciousness. The Pali word for this jhana, the English translation for jhana is called running, you know. What is the same consciousness that's going to run through for 7 times. And this will be the karmic force. That means it's going to be wholesome or unwholesome for us lay people, for us non-enlightened one. Uh, if you are Arahant, Buddha, then it's another matter again. So here, 9 to 15, this is where your karma is going to be linked to your. You're going to create a new karma in the process. See, you see the one at number 9, okay? Number 9 is the first jhana consciousness. All right. Now, the first jhana consciousness, it is said that according to the Abhidhamma, if your karma is going to ripen in this life, then it occurs at this jhana. Let's say let's say if there's a killing consciousness, killing due to hatred consciousness. So the hatred consciousness at this number 9, if let's say this number 9 comes up in that sense, then it's going to produce resultant in this very life itself. Okay? In this very life. Now, after that, you see number 15 here, the last jhana consciousness. They say that the last jhana consciousness here is going to produce karma in the next life, immediately your next life. Right? You're going to produce immediately karma in your next life. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This one, all these 5 consciousness, from 10 to 14, here it's going to produce in the subsequent lives. That means not in this life, not next life, in the future lives. Do not know when, but all the future lives. All this, whether it's wholesome or unwholesome resultant, is going to produce from that. Yeah. Now, how is it going to produce and so on? I said all these things is that you cannot really know. Let's say perhaps because of this 17 consciousness, all these 17 consciousness will keep on running again and again, repeatedly again and again. So therefore, when your karma will strike you, some of this process will have all the karma thing will happen at number 9. Some will happen at number 15. Some will happen at number 10 to 14. Other words, when you start killing, your resultant is going to be this life, next life, and subsequent life also. Because you got to imagine again, it's not just one stream. It's going to be many streams. Many of this process is going to go through just by you do you see something, or you act on something, or you're killing, or a wholesome action, and so on. So a lot of this thing is going to happen. Some of you say that, wow, how come I do dana so much? I don't get rich one. How come the karma still not producing in this life yet? Don't ask me already lah, that one. So I really do not know how exactly this thing is going to run, Oh. So this is something on the streams and so on. Now, if you want to understand a little bit on this process, let me show you where you can read for more explanation and so on. You can have more explanation and you want to read about it. Perfect. Okay, now here. Can y'all see this one? Rebirth linking life continuum, Bhavanga consciousness. Okay, now let me close this thing. Let me make it a bit wider for all of you to see. Hold on, make the font a bit bigger. Okay. You see what it mean by Bhavanga? The word Bhavanga, then this is in the, this one is in the comprehensive manual of Abhidhamma. This book. Comprehensive Manual of Abhidhamma. This is by Bhikkhu Bodhi. So you can download it from the internet also. Okay, there you see what it mean by Bhavanga. At least he explained to you what is Bhavanga. Now, Bhavanga is one of the objects that when there's no mental process, then this Bhavanga take place. When you are sleeping, this Bhavanga take place. When you are dreaming, the Bhavanga chitta stop, and then your active consciousness will start to take place. When your dream disappear, then it goes into Bhavanga again. Now, when you are awake also, every day when you are awake, when you from seeing you go into hearing, then in between of seeing and hearing process, there is a bhavanga, but it's a very short bhavanga. Right? It's still there. So this is what it means. Then what else you want to know? Then it says that here is the adverting consciousness, 5-door adverting consciousness. What it means by 5-door adverting consciousness? How the mind is advert to the object. Then after that, you get seeing consciousness, etc. The ETC is seeing, smelling, tasting. This is the 5-door consciousness and so on. It tells you a number of things. Then after that, what else? Okay, you got receiving consciousness. Then you got this jhana thing. The literal meaning of the word is running swiftly. Running, it's just passed through. And then all this again, you got to know what are the distinct, and then you got the registration consciousness, you got the death consciousness. The earlier one, you got the all these things. You got so many names for it. How are we going to go through in one this one one Q&A session? So it's interesting to know. It's interesting to know all these things, but you need guidance, you need teachers, and also you need some, again, basic understanding of Abhidhamma. And then as you, from the basic understanding, you build up as those things starts to get connected together, then you understand how these 17 thought moments are going through. Okay, now before we go through this 17 again, I've got a slightly more things for you to show you a little bit, make things a bit more complicated for you. Now you see, I can't make this thing become bigger anymore. Let me see. I don't know whether you can still see this or not. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Full screen mode. Okay. Yeah. Oh, cannot. You can't see. Sorry. Cannot go full screen mode. Full screen mode, you can't see anything. Can you all see right now? Okay. All right. Okay. Grades of sense door process. Now, just now, when we talk about the 17 consciousness, this is when it is connected to a very great object. That means the object that impinge on your eye is a very clear. It starts with past bhavanga, vibrating bhavanga, arresting bhavanga, five thought adventing consciousness, I-door consciousness, receiving, investigation, determining, jhana, registration. This is only for a very great object. Then, when the object is slightly less, it's called a great object. Then you have a slight object and a very slight object. Now, even some of the object, for example, you don't even have jhana anymore. No? For example, you see at the slight object here, the slight object, in the very slight object, there's no more J already. That means when there's no more J, that means it's not karmically active anymore. It's all just a bhavanga, arresting and so on, and then go back into bhavanga again. That means they are not all the time is going to produce karma. 明白吗？你们？So don't worry about so many of these names and this one. And I just want to show you that what we see or what we touch or what we hear is only when it's a very great object and a great object, then there are certain karma is going to come in. But if the things become less and very slight, that's not even the karma is going to produce. It's just passing through, and then it's just like, for example, your eyes is just passing through and something, but it doesn't really register into your mind. Then a very slight object, then it doesn't create any much of karma. So it's the same thing when we touch and when we hear and so on. All right. So don't worry about these things too much. It's just that what I want to share for you all is that where's this one? I just want to share this is because that since the question is asked, and then whether it's necessary for us to notice all these 17 consciousness and so on and on. So not necessary. As a Vipassana meditator, we don't have to go through all those type of things. But the thing is that, can this 17 consciousness be noticed in a more advanced level? Then the answer is yes. The answer is yes, it can be noticed. But when should you notice this thing? Wait till the Arahant first, then you go and notice all these things. Yeah, because it's not necessary. But if you want to do it after you get Arahantship only lah. Not Sotapanna also. No, Sotapanna is perhaps the wisdom factor also is not so strong. So notice it after you become Arahant. Then only you notice all these 17 consciousness and so on, and how this consciousness arises and how they become clear to all the yogis and so on. That later part now. And also this one, the 17, this stream of consciousness, it falls under, it's not fall under an ordinary meditator also, or ordinary Arahant also. It falls under, I think, those who have the four analytical knowledge, the four Patisambhida, the Arahants that come with four Patisambhida. This is also a kind of a supernormal power, but I don't know why they didn't put it under the supernormal power. But this one, because of the wisdom factor, is very sharp. It can able to go further than the normal Arahants, and it can able to look into the various different levels of consciousness, various different level of insight, and how you're going to look at the insight from which angle and so on. So this comes in with analytical knowledge. So those Arahants who have the wisdom power is very strong, very powerful, then they can actually see this 17 consciousness, they can see these mental processes and so on. And then they can do that. And I really, at one time, I heard that some Vipassana meditator, after they learn about these 17 thought moments, they want to go and meditate, and then they want to see all the stream, how they pass through. No, you cannot. Don't do that. Wasting your time. You don't have to do that. In the Vipassana, what is important is the prominency of an object. It's not about how many consciousness, how many jhana you're going to see, how many determining consciousness, how many functional consciousness. You are not going to see all those things. No, we are just want to see arising and passing away, the impermanence of the consciousness, not the different names of the consciousness, not the different all these things of the consciousness. We just want to know the impermanency of the consciousness, the non-self of the consciousness, the suffering aspect, the dukkha aspect of the consciousness. Because when you see these things, it brings you towards enlightenment. If you only want to see all these 17 things and you don't want to see the impermanent and all that thing, then you're hitting you're shooting at the wrong target. Yeah? You're shooting at the wrong target. So you make sure that you know what you're doing. Yeah? Although we learn Abhidhamma, it's for to help us to understand a certain number of things. But whatever the Abhidhamma says, don't try to gao, pandai pandai, when you do it, you're going to have a lot of problem. Yeah? Okay, let's see what else in the chat. What else in the chat? All right. Okay. Okay, good evening, Bhante. This is the chat right now, no? For those who are in the what do you call that? In the Facebook, you may not able to see it. I realized the metta that radiated during recent meditation is not as strong as when I did during the metta bhavana. Can give some suggestion how to boost the metta for the following meditation? Thank you. I told you all before, once you finish the metta session, it's not going to be as strong as what you do while you are in the metta bhavana. One of the biggest reason is that I'm not there to kick your butt. Uh, because here when you got sometimes you need to report that time, then only your mind is start trying to do. When you don't have this to report on anything, then the mind start to lax already. Now, how many of you still able actually to do? Tell me honestly, so most of you will not able to continue this metta. So to the same thing, when you go into a retreat, also the same thing. Next time when you don't have any teachers to guide you, if you're a beginner, if you no teachers around, you're also very you relax here, relax there, and so on. So usually when we don't have somebody to hold the reins, hold a leash onto you, then we tend to start to slack. But nevertheless, we understand that there's going to be a slacking. But what we need to do is make sure that you continue. You continue. Sometimes you may see that the metta slacks a little bit for a while. But there are days it can able to pick up. But when it's pick up, don't expect it to be all the time it's going to be like that. It's going to drop again. When it's drop again, after some time, you're going to pick up again. After some time, you're going to drop. You're going to pick up and drop. Then that's where how we slowly we progress, So one of the thing is that when there's somebody, a teacher or an instructor to help you, to guide you, then usually it's much more better, in that sense. All right, next question. Bhante, in daily life, I get so many negative thinking other than positive thinking. What should I do to make the mind more positive? We can't have much time to meditate. Thank you, Bhante, for the guidance for almost a year. All right, okay. Now, a lot of us, we may have a lot of negative thinking. Yes, we understand that. Perhaps thinking of other people, think of oneself not enough. Sometimes our conceit comes in, like for example, we compare ourselves with our sisters, we compare ourselves with our friends, and so on. Um, then, then, or other colleagues, and so on. Then it makes us very negative. Then we see other people more successful than us, then we get jealousy. Then or sometimes we just look down on ourselves for no other reason. We don't know what the reasons. So what can we do? What can we do? Here again, what will be helpful is that those things that you have done in the past, uh, the wholesome deeds that you have done in the past, you remind yourself that these deeds are very powerful karma. They are very powerful karma in the sense that when you go for a retreat, let's say, and you go for a number of retreats already, then you recall that even even the progress of the retreat is not so good, let's say. If the progress of retreat is not so good, but still we did a lot of dana during the retreat. We did a lot of keeping the precepts during the retreat. We meditate, we try to keep the mind alert, clear, although the progress may not be so much. And then when we reflect on those things, then it becomes quite a wholesome mental state. Instead of we go to retreat, then we think about, oh, that retreat now I didn't progress, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, and not enough, and so on. And now of course you're gonna tend into looking into things more negative. But in the wholesome side now, we forget that there are so much wholesome deeds that we have done, and it all being covered up by that negativity of ours. So for example, there's one thing. Then we go through life, for example, we go through life and when we, let's say we are working and so on, then our mind tends to think of perhaps like others are not capable, or others are better than you, or others are, you don't like them, and so on and so forth. The mind will keep on going and running on all these negative things. So what can we do then? Then here we got to learn to do a little bit of more metta or karuna. For example, that kind of like instead of looking into all their negative things, and then we sort of like change our mind to wish them to be free from harm and danger, to be well and happy, uh, rather than we drown ourselves into all this negativity. It is good that you know that this negativity of our mind is there or are there, and there are a lot. And every time they just come up, you're aware of them. You're aware of them, change the mind into more positive. Then you cultivate this metta again and again. Over time, it becomes part of your psyche, a part of your inclination. Uh, all our inclination, although we bring it from the past, actually if we make the effort, we can change quite a lot of it. Not all of it, but we can change a lot of it. Because a lot of this inclination is connected with our unwholesome states of mind in the past. So it brought forward to our present. So with here right now, we will learn about the divine abidings. We learn about the Brahma Vihara. We learn about Metta. We learn about Karuna. We learn about Mudita. We learn about Upeka. So all these type of things, you try to use it in your everyday life. If you cannot be mindful, then we have Metta. And if you have mindfulness, be aware, be present, be able to accept your difficulty and say that this pain and this hardness and unpleasantness and so on, this is I can able to accept it, but this is just they arise due to the condition, not my pain in that sense. uh, so if you can able to do that, that would be very good for you. And then there are a lot of reflections like gratitude, kindness that you have done in the past. You keep on repeatedly thinking about all these type of things, then it'll be very helpful for you. uh, uh, it'll be very helpful for you. uh, all right, hopefully. How can we have, okay, the next one, how can we have lesser thoughts throughout the day, or we shall have not all, or shall we not and observe as it arises? When do we practice metta and karuna meditation towards ourselves? All right, from Zoe. Okay, How we can have lesser thoughts over the day? Well, it is not easy. The nature of your work is, is part of your whole thinking. Hey, the employ you is for your brain lah, not for your hands lah. They pay you for your days to so that you can able to to do all the thinking work to be done. Intellectual labor. You're selling your intellectual to them. Say they pay you back something. So you have to think for them. You have to plan for them. You got to organize things for them. You got to team everything what they wish you to do. So you have to perform. You have to come up. The whole condition itself, you need to think. And again here, you ask the question, how have really going to have lesser thought? It's impossible unless you completely stop your work. That's that also is impossible because how are you going to makan? Be a nun. That also is another thing altogether. But the thing is that the work that we do it for 8 to 10 hours per day, that is your main thing, that you this one. And after that you come back, you have your what you call that, you have your Buddhist society, you have your this and you have that, you have so many other things as a layperson. How you can have lesser thought per day during that time? It's not about having lesser thoughts, it's about managing those thoughts. About managing those thoughts. Managing those thoughts means that yes, we can have a lot of thoughts per day, but let the thoughts have a little bit comes together, a little bit of mindfulness also, a little bit of awareness also. And also we must learn not to overthink, especially when things are not necessary. When things are not necessary, sometimes we just keep on thinking and thinking and thinking over it and brooding over it, like fermenting the mind onto it. Then it gets a lot problem, very hard. So sometimes we need to kind of like, hey, this one I don't have to go enough of the thinking of it. Move on to the next thing. Move on to other things. Don't overthink on it. If you overthink on it, it gives a lot of problem. Sometimes there are certain things that you do not have not enough thinking, but you need to plan, you need to go carry on somehow. But there again, sometimes we become so, we want to try to be perfect in life, try to be a perfectionist. Then that is also we overthink into the minute, into the details, into every little thing, as if like we can able to foresee what is going to be, what the problem is going to come up, and then we think of so many ways. Wow, I met with this type of people. I afraid of them because 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 when they question you, they will never finish question one, and the question will keep on rolling and rolling because you tell them the answer. Also, before you finish the answer, their mind is start thinking about questions already. They start thinking about questions. Then while you give them the answer, they don't listen to you, but they keep on thinking about the next answer. Then you give them they don't listen. This is what happened in a retreat center while interview. I gave them how to overcome a certain problem, but they don't listen to what I'm talking about, but they are hearing themselves creating more questions in the head in order to present more questions to me. Because how do I know? Because the moment I shut my mouth, their questions already start already. They don't like listen to you, think about it for a while, like that, okay. They don't. Their mind is thinking so much, so they don't even know. Even in the retreat time, because of their tendency, they do that. They overthink a lot of things. Hey, wait nah, slow down a little bit, you know. Sometimes when you slow down a little bit, then it helps to soften the mind a little bit. Uh, Sometimes we are very kanjong in life, very, very kanjong, very, everything we want to make it perfect, everything we got deadline, everything. Wow, that type of mind are very tough and very, very, and imagine that you do this over 30 years or 40 years of your work. 30, 40 years of your work, by the time you retire, your inclination of your mind is going to be like that. So hard, perfectionist, everything. Even you retire already. Like sometimes I say, with the person, sometimes he's a CEO or whatever, for example, for many years already in a big boss. Even Saturday, Sunday, when he's not working, he's still wearing the tie, imaginatively, Because why? He still act like a CEO. He still talk like a CEO to the family and to the other people also. So do the same thing that when you finish your 30 years or 40 years of work, let's say you're a teacher, you're going to act like a teacher even after you retire. I've seen a number of them already. Yeah. I've seen a number of them already. Not just teachers. I mean, if their profession is like 30 years or 40 years of that high position, then when they interact with the society, even in the Buddhist society, they will interact with their that attitude also. They carry forward their attitude as if they're still wearing the imaginative type of tie, even though all their formal clothing they don't wear anymore after they retire, but they're still holding on to all this inclination. So the same thing here, we have to learn to manage the mind. We got to one thing is that we don't learn to overthink certain things. We need to think, we think. We don't need to think, put it aside. Doesn't matter. Your life still carry on. Then the next thing is that we learn to slow down a little bit. We learn to slow down a little bit in order to able to manage our mind and our life in a more orderly way, a more clearer way. Sometimes when we have do a lot of things, thinking a lot of entanglement inside there. So we do, not to say one thing at one time, but slightly a little bit slower in order to learn to manage. Mm. Because I've seen a number of people they can have they can do things very fast. Yes, you are efficient, but it takes the toll in your mind. It's long enough. Huh? So something like that. Now, when we practice this metta karuna meditation, it's you can do it anytime. Anytime in the sense that when you are free, when you are clear, when you are relaxed, then spread it to the people around you or towards yourself and towards the people around you. It doesn't have to be special occasion. It doesn't have to be like in your meditation seat only, then only you do. You don't need, not only at your home only you do. You do it in your office. You do it while you're driving. In just about a few seconds. You do it while you're waiting for something. Well, you do it when you are showering also if you want to. Just before you go to sleep. And if you wake up, those type of things you can do. We are not asking you to do like long, but you're doing it like very short, one or two lines, even a word or two, even a word or two. As long as you have the meaning, the understanding, the meaning of it, then it becomes helpful to you. So you can do it frequently. When you do this frequently, and then it begins to help to put a break to all our unnecessary thinking, and also there's this restless mind that arises every now and then. So that'll be very good. Okay. So all right. Okay. So that's it for now. Yeah. For now, for this time, and then we'll continue. Hopefully, these talks, or other bhawana, maybe in future, in future. Okay. So all right. Let's share merits. Okay. Idang me pawanang,
idang me bhavanang,
nibbanasa,
nibbanasa,
pachayo,
pachayo,
hotu.
hotu.
May my mental cultivation
May my mental cultivation
be a condition
be a condition
for the realization
for the realization
of Nibbana.
of Nibbana.
Imang no
Imano
punya bagang
punya bhagang
sabba satanang
sabha satanang
dema.
dema.
We share these merits
We share these merits
with our departed ones,
with our departed ones,
with all beings
with all beings
and all the devas.
and all the devas.
Sabbe satta
Sabbe satta
sukhi hontu
sukhi hontu
anumodantu.
anumodantu.
May all beings
May all beings
be happy.
be happy.
May they rejoice
May they rejoice
in these merits.
in these merits.
Sadhu, 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 sadhu.